So, when did counseling stop being about problem solving? Well, not anymore. Introducing solution-focused counseling with the unlicensed counselor. And now, here's your host, Steve Moak.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of The Unlicensed Counselor. My name is Steve Moak. I am the Unlicensed Counselor, and evidently on Facebook, that's been quite the topic of discussion. I've been running some ads for the podcast on Facebook and Instagram and getting a lot of people who get a little fired up about the unlicensed part of the whole counseling thing. You know, I always get a good laugh at it. As I've said many times, you know, this is really about the counseling, the words that come out, not the letters after my name. And certainly, if you listen to some of the early episodes, I think episode 1, I get into how I became the unlicensed counselor as well, too, of having gone to 3.5 years of graduate school before having to sit the practicum session out because I started my first business and startup in the behavioral health world. So interesting. I was just on Facebook, you know, kind of going back and forth. I'd like to get a little snarky. Wouldn't be me if I wasn't being my authentic self with chit-chatting with some of those folks that are out there. But hey, thank you, welcome, great to have you here. You know, continue to see, you know, new subscribers, downloads. Really appreciate the support. It's just been fun, right? As always, grateful to be here. I'm going to talk a little bit about gratitude today as well, too. But really, the theme today I want to talk about is embracing the extraordinary in the ordinary. You know, a little cheesy, I know, but I thought it was kind of fun. And actually, I've heard a couple other podcasters that I listen to and kind of psychologists and some other folks talk about this. And Jordan Peterson, Dennis Prager, some other, you know, much smarter folks than I am. But hopefully I can break down and kind of, you know, like I always like to do, give a little more bite-sized pieces of information, a little tangible, a little take-home value to you as we're thinking about kind of these topics. And I'll get into kind of what embracing the extraordinary and the ordinary means, or at least what it means to me and how it may be applicable to you in your life. So quick, as I always do, weather update in Scottsdale, Arizona. Getting better, right? The end is in sight, right? Starting to get a little rain here in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, which is always welcome here. I think we're going to do a quick getaway up to Flagstaff, Arizona. If you haven't been out to AZ, always great to get out here, shoot up to Sedona, shoot up to Flagstaff. It's amazing kind of the variety that this state really has, but that's not what you tune into this podcast for. But I always like to make sure I touch on that. So before we get fully started here, always a big shout out and thank you to ShareTech. Go to betterdrugtest.com. Couldn't do this without you guys. It is the most important drug test that you need to be purchasing now, right? This is not your $20, $30, $40 cheapy Amazon test. When you need to know, when you need to trust a drug and alcohol screen, go to betterdrugtest.com, pick up one of the ShareTech tests. Again, they have a very, very unique process that has been game-changing for the drug and alcohol testing industry. At home, requires no observed collection, and you get a lab report sent to you with the levels and the variety of substances that that person has or has not used. So go to betterdrugtest.com, pick that up. As always, our friends at EasySheets.club, my favorite one to talk about. It makes me smile every time I talk about EasySheets.club. Easy Sheets is where you can go sign up for a subscription bedding service, right? Professionally cleaned, pressed, sent right to your door. My favorite, Carry Aloha White Bamboo. You're going to like it. Whoever's sleeping next to you are going to like it. The dog's going to like it. They're comfy, they're cozy, they're fun. Change the colors, change it seasonally, get a temperature controlled in the summer, get a flannel in the winter. It's the first service like this that exists out there in the world. Go support EasySheets.club. It's going to be the most comfortable subscription service you'll ever sign up for. How about that? As always, if you want to find or book some time with me, go to theunlicensedcounselor.com. But the other last little nugget of self-promotion I like to do before we dig in is, you know, our Coalition for Youth Drug Abuse Prevention, right? So it's a mouthful, but what our campaign is, Hard Stop. So we are about youth drug prevention, period, end of story. Follow us, Hard Stop Official. That is now our name, our moniker for all of our channels. Go on Instagram, go on TikTok. You're going to find us. We're posting bold, edgy content directed at you and your kids solely around youth drug prevention. You know, no more of this softballs that are out there and just stats and figures around drug prevention, overdose, poisonings, all that type of stuff. We are taking this with a much stronger message. Our goal, and we need your support, is to be the single national voice for youth drug prevention in this country. follow us, like, share the content. Please just go to Instagram, HardStopOfficial, start following us. In fact, I think I'm going to bring in one of the co-founders and probably do my first interview here on the Unlicensed Counselor as well, too, as we're kind of getting ready for our official launch coming up. So, okay, embracing the extraordinary in the ordinary. What the heck does that mean? So, I've been thinking we're kind of at the end of summer, getting close to the end of summer and things like that. And it's, people have gone on these great trips and beaches and mountains and traveled to Europe and the Amalfi Coast and all these great things. And it's like, those are amazing, amazing experiences that you're very fortunate and blessed to be able to go get to do. And it's very easy, I think, to be grateful when you're sitting on a boat and you've got a cocktail and your friends or your family and the sun setting, and it's just those perfect moments and those little snapshots that you can save forever. And I think that is incredible, right? And just, being grateful for those things. But the truth of the matter is, that is not our life, right? That is not our life. Our life is school drop-off pickup line, right? It's paying bills. It's showing up to work when you're tired, right? It's family. It's health issues. It's divorce. It's kids' grades, kids acting up, finances. Like, the real world, the real life can be kind of a grind, right? It can be kind of a grind. And so what I'm trying to talk about today is how can we find, those moments that are very similar to looking at that sunset on Lake Como or whatever it is, that ideal moment, that picturesque, that kind of brings you calm and centers you. How do we have those feelings in our day-to-day life, right? And I think that if we can start to find that more in our everyday life, then I think that we're just going to find our increased mood, positivity, attitude, relation, just, a better human being in general, which is really, if you can take some of these things from when you hear this podcast and apply just a few of them into your life, that's really my goal, and see how they work. You got to try them on, put them on, and see what works for you. So a couple thoughts I had around this as I was kind of show prepping for this week is, let's think about the overlooked treasures, right? So what does that mean? So things that maybe we take for granted, right? Let's try and not take some of those things for granted, but try and look for those in more of the everyday life and not just the big, glorious, very pretty things that are Instagrammable and things like that. Thinking about everyday blessings, let's think about sunshine or laughter or a comfortable bed or maybe a pair of sheets, right? All right, see what I did there? Think about the value of those kind of ordinary moments in life. I think about, one that stands out to me, and I think I've spoken about this in the past, is when I'm putting my daughter to bed and she wants to cuddle, right? She's allowed to kind of relax, watch her show for a few minutes, then we shut it down, we say our prayers, and she always wants, daddy to cuddle. And it's, even just sitting here, it just gives me the warm and fuzzies. And that's a really special moment that I actually look forward to every day, right? And finding the value and the happiness in an ordinary moment like that, and how it cannot be an overlooked treasure. I don't know if I'm going to have any more kids, right? I don't know if I'm ever going to have a little 3.5-year-old girl, that I get to cuddle with and say I love you and say her prayer. I mean, that's really special stuff, right? So just trying to pause, and I do think it's important to be able to pause and reflect on those moments in your life and find whatever that is. I know sometimes as a parent, maybe it's easier, but find the sunset, find the laughter, find that chair or that view that you really like, or a song, like whatever it is. Let's try and find those extraordinary moments in our everyday life, right? And let's see if we can embrace those. And one thing that I think gets overlooked, and this actually struck me this week, is our health as well too, right? I exercise a lot. I was playing in a basketball game this week and kind of tweaked my shoulder, right? Kind of banged up a little bit. And I'm going to have to probably sit out a couple games and kind of take it easy. And I'm just like, wow, like it hits me. And it's minor. It's nothing serious. I just need to rest it so it doesn't kind of linger and take a lot longer to heal. But thinking about I don't want to overlook my health, right? I'm 44 years old. I think I did that math right. Should probably know that. And I don't want to take that for granted. And it's just little things like that is just kind of a quick little check to myself of like, hey, don't take this for granted, right? The things that you get to do, being able to exercise or go for a run or do yoga or pick up your daughter or ride a bike or go to the park. Like, don't take that stuff for granted, right? So don't overlook those little treasures in your life. So the next thought I had around extraordinary and the ordinary is gratitude. We've talked about gratitude a lot, so I'll move through this one a little bit quicker. But again, if we're really able to bring this into our life as a daily practice, the concept of gratitude and kind of the transformation that it can make in our lives, if we can start looking at things through that lens of abundance, right? And we have a whole episode on gratitude before that, please download that and take a listen and share your thoughts. But gratitude doesn't just have to be this fleeting emotion. I'd really like it to see it in your life and in my life. What I try to do is have it be more of a mindset, right? More of a mindset than just kind of those moments, right? That takes practice, that takes consistent effort and kind of a refocusing on that to kind of make sure it's at the center of your life. I was in a yoga class yesterday, and they're like, come up with a word or a mantra or a phrase that you just kind of keep coming back to. And for me, it was rest. My body was feeling a little banged up. But I was like, if I had something that I woke up every day and intentionally kind of set my intention around what I am grateful for today, be it health, be it kids, be it work, be it family, whatever that is, I just think that it's going to rewire our brains, and it's going to go from an emotion to kind of a concept, right? And if you're able to find a way to make that into more of a daily practice in your life, I think the benefits will start to show themselves significantly. And my guess is, too, that the people around you are going to take notice of it, too, because I really do think, because when you start thinking and acting and behaving that way, it's gonna change kind of how you engage with other people and your attitude. And I just think it could be a great example for others as well, too. But yeah, the power of gratitude. Think about it. Download the episode. Take a listen to it. The next thought I had is, thinking about the moments that matter, right? This goes back to being present in the moment, right? I think about this through the lens of a guy in long-term recovery, right? As somebody who's a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, right? I had no sense of being present for decades and years. I mean, whether it was blacking out or just, running from one thing to the next or searching for the next drug or drink or whatever it is. So for me to find my brain continually wants to look forward, up, look backward. And what I'm missing is where my 2 feet are standing right now, right? And if I can find that pause, recognize when my brain drifts forward, when it goes backwards, and see if I can find where I'm standing on my 2 feet and be present there, that's a big thing for me, and much easier said than done for a guy like myself, because I spent a lot of years not being present, and it's something that I really, really, really want to improve on in my own life, right? So see if you can find, again, joy in some of the small things that are going on in your life every single day, right? That maybe you made that green light and it got to the meeting on time. Little things that, again, because we're talking about your everyday life now, not just the moments that matter when that sunrise hits perfect and you got those things are great. Like, we get that. Find those little moments in your everyday life and pause, take notice of them, take a little inventory. Find the beauty in kind of some of your friendships and the connections that you have, or the loved ones in your family, and being able to share that with them as well, too. That's not something I'm great at, by the way, is being able to share that. I can now much better find the beauty and the joy in a lot of these small things, but I'm still working on being able to kind of verbally communicate out those things, right? That's a thing in me of how I've been wired, of not being great and verbally expressing a lot of those things, but stuff that I continue to work on. And I think it's important, especially as a dad now. I want to make sure that I'm able to communicate these little moments out to my daughter and just be like, man, isn't this awesome? Like, we get to go on this bike ride in this park or whatever it is. and just trying to find those little things in our everyday life, right? Think about the time you shared, a big laugh with a friend, and your worries just kind of fade away into the background, and just kind of the pure joy of being there in that moment and that richness that kind of sits with you as well. You're not worrying about the bills, or you're not worrying about school or all these other things. Just sitting there in that moment and enjoying those things as well too. And I think that if we could do a little bit more of that, and you can be a little more present today, I think your overall happiness is going to increase significantly, right? So the next thing up on my list was cultivating mindfulness, right? So again, how do we go about not taking things for granted, right? How can we use mindfulness as a tool to not take these things for granted? Something that I have to do is I now go to a yoga class, and it's actually less yoga poses and things like that. It's actually more sound. And there's guided meditation that comes through it. So she'll be playing a gong. My brain wanted to say bong for a second. I'm like, geez Louise. See, that's where my brain goes, right? But she'll be playing a gong. She'll have these different kind of tools that make these kind of rain noises and things like that. And for me, I've always said in all my life, it's like, I want to meditate more. And I'll go through phases where I'll do it. What I had to do was take a bigger step in terms of taking action and actually go to a class that forces is the wrong word, but it makes me sit down, be present, and spend an hour being calm, being still, listening, having my mind wander and practicing bringing it back, right, with whatever my focus or intention is, and really I listened to kind of this guided meditation that she'll take us through. That's what it took for me to actually get through to the mindfulness kind of meditation thing, which I have found great benefit at. I did it last night. There's a 6:00 class once a week. And look, I'm not saying I do this every day. I don't claim to be perfect on this, but as I have always said, I like to take action on these things. And this class is great. You get you get comfortable, you get blankets, you get little things, and she'll take you through all these things. And this mindfulness and this meditation that we're doing is really, really, I walk out of that. It's almost like a high, right? It almost is. You kind of come out and your brain is slower. Things are calmer. The breath feels different. Even just listening to myself say these things right now, I'm like, dude, this is not the same person I knew like a couple of years ago, pal, right? But that's the impact that it's having on me, is it kind of forces me to slow down, think, and kind of reframe my thoughts for the day and for that week, and just kind of take a personal inventory on how I am and how my mind's really going. But, there's many different ways to practice mindfulness, right? I mean, instead of kind of rushing through your cup of coffee in the morning, maybe you just kind of sit there and sip on it for a little bit and kind of be cognizant of exactly what's going on, right? Take in the moment. Notice the taste, the warmth, right? Just kind of savor a little bit more. Maybe that's a cheesy example, but find something that kind of takes you out of all the hubbub, the busy that's going around, the swirling mind. I think they call it monkey brain in yoga or something like that. I think that's what they do. I've heard that. Again, I'm still new to all this. But find a way to kind of redirect your brain and find a way that works for you. Again, I think meditation is an extremely powerful tool. There are apps like Calm and Headspace and things. If you can do some guided meditations through that, go for it. One of the goals that I have and something that I want to try is I'm looking to see if there's like a yoga class that I can go with my daughter. I think that would be cool. And I also want to introduce her to some of this guided meditation stuff as well, too, at an earlier age. Maybe it's something you could do with your kids, your spouse, your partner, whomever, right? Getting somebody to go do these things with versus relying on your own motivations to get there often will get you there a little bit faster. If somebody's over there giving you a little nudge saying, hey, we've been talking about this, why don't we go out there and actually see if we can make it happen? So, find a way to savor these little small experiences in life. And you're kind of looking at, gardening or doing yard work for me is kind of almost a mindfulness exercise. It kind of slows me down and focus, and I just enjoy that type of stuff. So find something that works for you and just try it, right? Just try it. Anything that kind of slows the mind down, takes you out of that daily grind. And again, our goal is to find the extraordinary in the ordinary. callback. Next up on my list is practicing intentional appreciation, right? How do we show more appreciation to others in our lives, to ourselves? I'm not good at the appreciation of myself. I tend to kind of blow it off if people give me a compliment or something. I know it's just kind of how I'm wired. I'm not sure how I ended up that way. But I am, trying to receive compliments a little bit better and be appreciative of that. And I'm also trying to pay them to others as well, too. But I think this practicing intentionally the appreciation is something that we could all kind of put a little bit more into our life in really focusing that on our overall well-being as well. This could come in the form of a gratitude journal, right? I know that's been said many times, and I think it's a fine thing to do. I just don't know if a lot of people actually put that into practice. But I think finding a way to be intentionally appreciative, let's do it now of our health, our friends, our family. What I see very often is something bad happens, right? Somebody gets sick. We lose someone suddenly. Divorce, things don't go our way, job loss. And all this negative stuff happens, right? And then maybe as people are going through it or at the end of that, start to find the appreciation for what they already have in their life. And my challenge to you is start appreciating it now, right? Start appreciating it now. Don't wait till all the other crap goes south in your life to find out that what you have right here today is good, right? And that you could take a moment and go, wow, I've got my health, I got my kids, I got a job, I got a beautiful sunset, I got this house, I got a puppy that I love, whatever that is. Let's see if you can take a moment now and start thinking about those things, and let's not wait till whatever that bad thing is that happens and have you go through all that to try and appreciate what you have sitting in front of you right now, right? So, really, that was kind of the theme today of how we embracing the extraordinary in the ordinary, right? So, overlooked treasures, the power of gratitude, moments that matter, cultivating mindfulness, practicing intentional appreciation. These are the riches that are sitting in your life right now, right? I'm not telling you to try and go, do an ultra marathon to go find. Just look at what you're doing today. Look at what you're driving home, and when you see that mountain or when you see the sun setting or you get home and you have a great meal or a great bite of food, whatever that is, try and find the richness in those things that are already happening in your life. Don't just keep looking forward, wanting to put the next thing on your calendar so that you can then go be grateful as you sit on the beach in California and see that beautiful sunset, right? Think about those moments of the laughter with your friends, with your family. Find the beauty in those things today and right now. And I think if you can start to maybe put one or two of these things into play right now, I think over the next few weeks and few months, you're going to find out that you got a lot of gratitude already sitting in front of you. You just needed to maybe open your eyes up a little bit more and look around. So, all right, well, that's what we had today. I thought that was an interesting topic. Wanted to just drop some of these nuggets on you. Again, take one or two, put it into play. If not, send me a note, Instagram, Facebook, email us, whatever it is. I always like to hear your feedback. It's fun. It's interesting. I learned something. Maybe you'll have better ideas than I do. But as always, my name is Steve Moak. I am the Unlicensed Counselor. So grateful to have time with you today. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Talk to you soon.